Hey everyone, and welcome back to Firestone Forge. I'm on a little bit of an SCA storytime kick right now. That's Society for Creative Anachronisms. We're a group of people at a time and place. We do medieval martial arts as well as arts and sciences. So there's heavy fighting, which we use rattan, which is a solid bamboo to fight with, as well as there's rapier fighting and stuff like that. But again, there's also arts and sciences, all different kinds of crafting from scribal work, sewing, like trying to recreate medieval pieces, things that have existed or things that could exist, and documenting the process along the way. There's brewing, cooking, you name it, okay? Blacksmithing, leatherworking, whatever. It's all there, okay? And we're always looking to expand this knowledge database or knowledge base, whatever, within our local groups and wider as well as we can. It's an international organization. I highly recommend it. A lot of fun. These stories that I'm telling over the past couple of videos are just memories of mine, experiences that I've had, or of people. This one here is going to be a second part for my former knight, Sir Taliesin de Morlaix. Now, I'll get into the reason why he's a former knight, my former knight. But first things first, I'd like to talk. I already talked about how we met and how we first started fighting and everything else like that. I became his man at arms. Well, eventually, uh, eventually, I'm his man at arms, and we were at this war in California, or Caid in the society. It was called Highland War, and it was if I'm remembering correctly, it was somewhere out near Victorville. It was on an old military base. There's some memories that are fuzzy. It was hot. It was a long time ago. Anyway, but we were at Highland War. And Highland War, there was two wars that were my favorite wars that I went to, and that was Potrero War first, down in Potrero near San Diego. And Highland War was my second favorite, just because the locations were great and everything else. Just incredible fighting, incredible people. Okay. Uh, Now, at this particular Highland War, my knight and I had made this black cloak. Okay, and it was kind of like a modified thing. It was based off of, I'm not gonna lie, I sewed it myself, but it was based off of a Jedi cloak pattern, okay, that I'd gotten from Simplicity at like Walmart, okay. And I kind of modified it to make like the caplet like longer, the mantelpiece or whatever you want to call it, longer, so it came down farther, and like it had a removable hood, so I had like a collar on it, and like just various different kinds of stuff, and none of it was period, but it looked good. That was my point. Anyway, so I've got this black cloak, and I had sewn in just a couple of pockets, right? One up here and one at either side. Now, me and Taliesin are there, and he had brought this 12 by 12 pavilion, and that was like kind of the gathering place. And at one point we had decided we wanted to go around to other encampments and say hello, maybe stir up a little bit of stuff for the next day of fighting. This was on like Friday night. Saturday morning, like that's when the war was going to start, and Sunday there was still a little fighting, and then we'd pack up and go home. But anyway, so Friday night we decided to go stir the pot, if you will. And we start going around to different encampments. Now, we were adults, we were drinking, and I had some like cigars because I smoked cigars at the time, and I had a drinking horn full of my favorite libation, and like I packed a couple of things in the pockets. Not much, mind you. So we go to this next encampment over, and he hails the camp, which is to basically say hello. Are you open to having visitors? So you yell, hail the camp, and if they hailed back, yelled hail back, you'd go in there and party, have a good time, talk, whatever was going on. It didn't always have to be raucous. In fact, most of the time it wasn't. It was very polite. You go up, you meet people that you haven't met before, you say hello, or if you want to start some stuff, you just go, oh well, you're this unit, well my unit's going to kick your butt. Different kinds of things, just in good-natured ribbing. Okay, none of it was ever taken really serious, not any way that I was a part of, because that's not how we roll, and that's not how Taliesin rolls. So anyway, we went to several different encampments. Now the thing is that I had all these different libations on me, drinks, alcohol. I even had a can of Coke stuffed in my pocket up here because I didn't want it shaken up, right? And I had a handle jug of Captain Morgan. Now, this cloak is black, and it's dark. It's pitch black at night. You can't see anything. Well, anyway, we go to this encampment, and I'm keeping mental track of where we're at. And he'd be like, oh, hey, like at a certain point in the conversation, hey, would you like something to drink? To whoever he was talking to. They'd be, oh, yeah, that'd be great. What do you got? And I'd have a bottle of water for those who didn't want any kind of alcohol. But I had like some beers and various different kinds of things. And so I'd be like, oh, well, I've got this. Well, I've got that. I've got this other thing. And they'd be like, how many pockets do you have in that thing? And I was like, oh, well, guess you'll never know. I only had 3 very small pockets, barely big enough to fit my hands. Okay, I got oven mitts for hands, but not the point. Anyway, so small pockets. One on either side, one up here. And I had this jug of Captain Morgan down at my side. And when they'd be like, oh, well, would you like a rum and Coke? Oh, yeah, they'd have their glass. And so I would just bring this bottle of Captain Morgan's up out of nowhere, so it seemed. It was just down at my side. I was holding on to the thing. They'd be like, where did you pull that out of? And so I'd mix them a drink. When nobody was looking, I would slink back into the shadows. When I was running low, I would slink back into the shadows and book it back over to our pavilion. And I'd reload up. I'd grab more things and stock up. And then I'd book it back over and just slowly meld out of the shadows. Nobody even knew I was gone. And it would take minutes, But the whole thing was, they'd be like, oh, where did you come from? I was just looking for you. Oh, so it became this kind of thing where like people didn't know that I was gone. And I was just constantly going back and reloading. And so that started this whole, in my mind, that started this whole thing. So hold on a second, I got to show you something. All right, so this is what I created after that. So I had the black cloak first, and then I ended up making this. This is actually Mark II. The first one was a little bit different, but same exact principle, okay? So yes, kind of a flowing cloak, looks kind of unassuming. It's not that great. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot going on. But you got 4 pockets right here, okay? Can of spray paint, right? Plenty enough room to fit a couple of different bottles. Same thing on this side. Across the back, I've got 3 pockets that are big enough to fit either Heineken or Coors mini kegs. I know because I tried. Or an 18-pack. Or a handle-sized bottle of whatever flavor libation you like. So this is the bar cloak. I had to modify it specially up here in the shoulder section because the weight was so much. You could carry a lot that it would start digging into your neck and you couldn't wear it for more than 20 minutes at a time. I put some special stuff up here, figured some things out, and then you can wear it for hours without having an issue. You can carry a lot in this. Now, what I started doing was, and this is important, because not only could I carry a lot of stuff, but you got to be careful. You're carrying around a lot of clinking glass. So I figured out an electrical system back in the day. I don't have it here. I'm actually quite happy this came over with my friends because it's got so many memories for me. But thing is that I used to have a carpenter's belt that had a battery back that I had to figure out how to wire into series and an inverter. And then I put a deck light inside here. So you'd walk up to an encampment and, somebody, you would hail the camp or whatnot. And then they'd ask, oh, what would you like? Well, what do you got? Flip the switch, open it up, blinding people. What do you want? And then you just start mixing drinks left, right, and center. I'd have small daisy cups in there. I'd have stir sticks. I'd had lemons cut up in a little baggie and sugar for different kinds of shots and alcohol and whatnot. I used to consider myself a liquid pastry chef. I'm not anymore. I don't even drink. Don't feel the need to or whatnot. But this is still something that's important to my past. And we would go and get other encampments drunk so that way the next day they'd have a hard time fighting. I don't think that was ever expressly in the idea, but it's what happened. So thanks for watching.